Hey everybody, it's John with National Sports Entertainment, and I wanted to go into tonight's schedule. We have a pretty healthy NBA schedule, and while we only have 2 college games, one of them is an important game because I chose them for an important metric. It's just one I always like to play. So in this case, you can see we have this was from yesterday, how we finished out. So far we've closed 72 units, and then we have about, I'd say, 7 to 8 outstanding sequences. And if you aren't familiar with sequences or things of that nature, I do go over them in prior videos. But I wanted to go over the most important game first, and in my opinion, it's this game. It's a simple metric, and it's one that, a lot of people don't care about. It might be a boring game to them, but I like it. It's Toledo here. If you look at them against the over this year, and the over you can see is set at 155.5. If you go to their record against the over, they're set right now at 92.3. And let's just go back a little bit. If you go back through history, and I've done this, I didn't just go back 2 years. I went back as far as I could. I'm not going to sit here and go back to the 70s, but I think you get my point. I went back every year, and any team that's played even close to a full schedule, they always balance it out. So they're always going to finish between high 60s, high 70s. You might see one hit the 80s. You're not going to see teams sniff the 90s. You see here, SC Upstate couldn't even do it in 9 games. And the more games, the less probability. So I absolutely love Toledo under here. I like it as a leg 3 for the Navy Colgate under loss. We missed the Knicks, leg 1. I like the Navy metric. We missed that, so we're playing another metric that I like. And that's what I've been trying to explain to people, that with especially, the 3 leg sequences, say hypothetically this missed, it'd be a 7-unit loss, 1, 2, and 4, which would put us at 65 plus, which is still great. And that's why I try and explain to people it's about the long term. But if Toledo does go under, like I believe they will, I don't think that overholds. And I am buying to 156, just so you know. I like I said, I like 156 here. I just think there's a chance. So if there's that little chance on a leg 3, I'm definitely going to buy it. But if they do, as I believe they will, go under, then we close it out and we net 1 unit. Now, the sequence goes a lot deeper than that, of course, but that's basically the bare principles. So I like that game to go under, and I really like Yale's got a doubleheader. They got, not a doubleheader, but a back-to-back nighter. And they're at 18, nothing crazy. Traditionally, teams are not going to finish below 20, but they have. But I like them for the 2 games in a row. So I'm going to go ahead and take them to go over. And that one, I just took the ESPN line. What I like to do, I don't know why. I'm not sure why they do it exactly. But they seem to treat, well, I kind of know why they do it. Disney owns them all. I mean, all these people are controlled. But at the end of the day, ESPN, they're like the Associated Press of spreads. So if you check a team rankings or any of these sites that go by an over-under spread or right now it's Yale minus 16, it's going to be the ESPN closing spread. So in this case, it's 129.5. So that's the over-under. We have it going over 129.5. It's your prerogative if you want to buy it down to 129. But I can say this one hasn't moved around just as much as the other one kind of was moving. The Toledo one was kind of bouncing between 155 and 156. So it's pretty simple. Leg 3, we're doing under on Toledo, and for leg 1, we're doing the over on Yale. Now, the rest of these are mostly going to be leg 1s. Like I said, we don't have a ton of open sequences, and the few we do have are leg 3s. And I'm saving them for tomorrow and Sunday. So we're going to play the best metrics, but if I see a good game, we will make it a leg 2 for an open sequence, or we could make it one of our leg 3s. But I'm not going to go too deep into it. I like the Blazers here. I think the public is still fading them, thinking it's just a Dame team. I think the public has both. I think the public has both the Pacers and Blazers as pretenders, when I think they're going to give the Blazers a run. And for them to have a run, they need to win games like this. So I'll take Blazers with the 2 points. This next one, I could see it going both ways. I do like the Bulls slightly. I'm going to take them with 5. I'm going to buy a half point. I think, again, they got to keep the Bulls in their division. They got to keep the Bulls in the hunt. And the Sixers are doing good enough that they can afford this loss. For the same reason and the exact same logic, I'm going with the Raptors. I like them to cover because I think, again, at home here, they really need this win. They've lost a couple close ones. The Knicks have been looking good. I said the Knicks, in my opinion, are going to run parallel with the Blazers. They're going to be a team in the East that people think are pretenders, but they didn't sign Brunson for no reason, and Barrett's a good player, and Randall, so I expect the Knicks to be a play-in team. I actually expect them to be a playoff team this year. And the Raptors, though, they need to play for that play-in spot. So I do think the Raptors cover this, so I'm going to take them minus the 4. Skipping the Nets, if you know me, you know why. We picked them for a while. Then Kyrie came out, first he came out against the needle, and it seemed like they kind of took him back door and made him pay a couple penances. And they've been on fire ever since. So while it's easy to pick them, they've also been losing a couple spreads. So they're a tough team to read, especially with Kyrie seemingly have caved. So on this one, just because they go back and forth so much, we're going to stay away from that game. Here, I really do, in this Hornets game, I really do like Milwaukee. I think they get back to their winning ways, and I also think, again, there hasn't been a game that they've really pounded a team, and they're used to doing that. A win by 10 for them isn't, again, over Wizards, nonetheless, is not them pounding a team. And it's been a while. So I think the Bucks do win this game by double digits. And since they haven't in a while, people are more likely to fade that. In this one, I really like the Wizards. Again, these are all leg ones. So I don't want to say, I did this as leg. These NBAs are all leg ones. That's why we're playing so many. If I specify them, we'll make it a leg 2. I do like the Wizards here because I think more people are going to be on the Thunder. Just because I think, again, it comes down to pretenders. And I'm not sure. It's funny. You'll see how many over-unders fall on 232. And then it's funnier to see how many of the times that specific number clips somebody. Let's see if that happens tonight. But we're not playing the over-under. We are playing the Wizards. And yes, I am going to buy a half a point and play them plus 2. A lot of people just run into money lines, and that's one thing I've heard people, telling me they appreciate that distinction too, because people just think a point or two is worthless. It's not. ESPN doesn't accidentally set it at 1.5. Now, the reason I like them is of the two teams that I believe are pretenders, it's a lot easier for the Thunder. Like, the Thunder are not going to have a shot for the play-in based on the division. I was going into the Franco Harris thing. No problem, man. I can't see the comment, but I'm guessing you're going into the Franco Harris and the fact that Harris for the Steelers made the catch that I had going into. Yeah, I thought that was kind of crazy. But anyway, so I do think in this case, since the Wizards actually have a chance for the play-in, the Thunder, people are going to find that very, very soon don't. Just not mathematically possible with how the West is stacked. The Wizards need these type of wins. So I'll take the Wizards, but to be safe, I'm going to buy a half and get them plus 2. This game I'm staying away from. When I see two bottom dwellers, I'll look for certain metrics. Nothing here is making me love any team more than the other. This is one where if there's like a fan, like a heavy fan of one team, I would enlist them and ask them their opinion. Because a lot of times, even though it's fake, it's just like wrestling. Fans, they know sometimes. This game, I love the Wolves to cover. I will buy it down to 4. But I know the Clippers have been on a pretty big losing streak, and people think they might have to turn it around. But I think it reminds me of the Nuggets yesterday. I think people are going to be taking the Clippers so long they're getting more than 3 points, unless they're playing a really, really good team. So, again, yesterday I considered it like an even matchup. This I consider the Clippers slightly better. So it just kind of, in my opinion, heavy, that 4.5 points. So it makes me like the Wolves to cover. Same reason here, just slightly different logic. I like the Cavaliers. They just made a point on live television. They don't do this on accident, of having the Nuggets just completely mop we were just talking about them, the Clippers. And I just can't imagine that this game, the public's not going to be expecting, okay, well, if they mop the Clippers, they're going to mop the Cavs. The public doesn't look at records. They look at Kawhi and George, and they look at that. They really do. They factor in records. But just to show you where the public is at, and I'll cover them in 2 seconds because they actually coincide. The public and this next team I'm talking about. In this game, I like Phoenix. Normally, I would love the Heat. People know this about me. You know my metric. And it almost looks like a trap. But I think, again, I don't think they're going to have Phoenix be that. They already have that team in the Warriors that's just completely laying an egg. I don't think they're going to do that with multiple, and the Lakers. I don't think they're going to do it with the Suns as well. It just wouldn't make sense to me. So while normally I'd be all over this because of the metric, again, the Heat have won enough now against the spread. They're not even bottom three. I believe the Mavericks are worse than them, and there's another team that's worse than them. So, and they're still in like the mid 30s, high 30s, which is a normal metric. So I stopped betting those metrics when they stop mattering. So on this one, I think it's a narrative game, and I think they want to show people the Suns can still cook. Now, I was talking about the public and why I feel like I have a good pulse on where the public's at. 90% of the public, and in a recent poll, CBS put this out, like, where do you have the Lakers ranked, right? And there are 5 options. Finals, which 20-something% took. They'll make deep playoff run, which another 20% took. The last one was like they'll make the playoffs, but they won't go too far. Again, you have probably like 15% there. And then the bottom 2 options got almost no votes. And they'll just make the play-in. And then the bottom option got less than 10%, and it was they're trash. So it just shows you where the public is, that they don't understand what's going on, that they actually think the Lakers are going to make the playoffs. So it makes me love the Hawks. So I was looking into the injury report because you see Capella's out. I wanted to see if they were going to be sneaky. They will tell you they'll tell you a guy was hobbling, around the gym. They just saw him. He had a brace on. Maybe he'll be ready in 2 weeks. And that night he suited up. Like I've never seen a league as blatant as the NBA. The NFL is nowhere near as bad. So it's funny how they have different dirty tactics. But yeah, he's definitely out from, I read into the different outlets, injury reports. So they're not going to sneak him in. And if you look at the spreads here, they both suck. That was the team, actually, the Hawks. They were the ones who had fallen behind the Heat for a couple games. But anyway, I think the Hawks win this game. I think people are going to be more on the Lakers at home just because of the startling statistic I just told you guys. That 90% of the people actually think this is a good playoff team. So I do like the Hawks here. Now, what I often do, and I'll encourage people to check out my community post. I did it with the Nuggets yesterday. If there's certain games, and depending on how we're doing with sequentially, I might say, you know what, I thought about it, and I like the Suns as a leg too. And I'll put that on a community post, and I'll let you know. So I always do that. So if you guys want to pop in before the game, if I'm going to update that or the Lakers or a college game to a leg 2 or such, I will put it on the community post. But just do a quick recap. I'll just make sure you can want to write them down or whatever. Pacers, I like the Blazers +2 there. Bulls, I like them +5. I do like the Raptors here to cover that ESPN spread of 4. I'm just going to skip over the Nets. Bucks -10. I'm going to buy that Wizard to +2. I really think that one's going to be a trap. And then we're going to skip the Spurs. And we're going to play the Wolves. I like that. We'll cover there. We'll buy that down to 4. And I do like the Cavaliers after what people saw. I'll take the Cavaliers 5.5. And then I like the Suns -2. And the Hawks -2.5 is fine. I'm not going to buy juice on everyone. So the reason I recap is just to show you, the ones I buy juice on in these particular cases is going to be the Sixers. I don't know why. I just have a feeling the 5 might matter. So I'm going to buy that Chicago up to 5. And on the 1.5 here with the Thunder. I think that one's another one that might, for some reason, that 2 points might matter. So those are all of our plays. Don't forget the Yale play, the over, and specifically the Toledo under starts at 6:30. So I know it's a lot of plays, a lot of numbers I just spouted off, but again, there's nothing fun about, numbers, unless you like numbers. What is fun is winning, and that's what we've been doing, and that's what we're going to continue to do. The numbers part is, trust me, looking up these metrics isn't like something I look. I'm like, yeah, I get to look at college metrics, but I do look them up because it's just like, I don't know why people, do these parlays and things when we can just continue doing it this way. So that's what we're going to do. I think we have a really good day. Even splitting, we will do well, but I think we do well in the NBA. And I like that Toledo under. So, again, if you're tailing me directly, that's my leg 3. Everyone that's tailing me is playing that leg 3 for Toledo to go under. And I always tell people one game isn't any more important than the other. So people will get bummed out when they lose a leg 3. Understandably so. But again, it's a very long-term thing. So while I like that metric the most of all the games, I'm not going to get like, that game lost, but ignore the leg 1s. The whole purpose is to close out sequences at a profit. And that's why I implore anybody this is my first video. And for most people, it's not. Most of you guys have been rolling from the beginning. But I've made a playlist in where you can see every day we do about 3. We go over the beginning of the day. We just do the picks. Then we do like a recap. And then we usually have, in the middle of the day, we have one where I find a pick or two that I forgot about. So I get a video out there covering that. So I just wanted to go over that for anyone that's new. Just the way we go about the system and how we're up 72 units. Well, we've closed 72 units, notwithstanding our sequences. So, for example, this is something I like to show people. And like I said earlier, it's nothing crazy, but we're at 72. Let's just say we were to lose. Let's just be negative and assume, bam, Toledo lost before they even played. That Toledo under lost. Well, that's 7 units. We're still at 65. Let's be even more negative and say, and the Dolphins, who I put 2 videos out now going over why I think they're going to win Sunday, they lost too. They already lost. For some reason, they just both lost. Well, again, we're still at 58 units in the net in just over a week. So that's why people that's why I made the playlist. And once I did, it was great seeing so many people tailing. And now so many people are just like, wow, my bankroll's here, even after a bludgeoning on this day. Because it's not about one day. It's about, we've been doing this since September 24th. So, again, this is about every single day. And as I said, I think we easily at 100 units by Monday. So that's it. I just wanted to go into every game. And I know some people like reasons as to why I'm playing the game. So I don't like to just run through the teams. I like to go into detail as to why I like those teams. That way, if you were thinking the same thing, then you can play them as well. So we'll have a recap going out later. If I find other games, we'll have that going on as well. But take care, everybody, and happy earnings.